Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have an exciting project to show you. As the title suggests, we will deploy a WordPress website on AWS using Amazon EC2. Now this is my blog website where I share my posts, tutorials, latest trends, tools, and best practices about cloud computing. I'll put the link in the description below so you can check it out. Now this is a WordPress website hosted on AWS. Now, I've used AWS services such as Amazon EC2 for the server, Amazon RDS for the database, Amazon Application Load Balancer for efficient traffic distribution, AWS Certificate Manager ACM for SSL and TLC certificates, and Amazon Route 53 for the domain name management and DNS routing, as seen from this architecture diagram. Okay. Now, Amazon EC2 is the answer if you want to host your WordPress website in a highly scalable, secure, and budget-friendly way. By the end of this video, you'll know step by step how to set up your own WordPress website using Amazon EC2. So let's get started. Before we begin, let's go over a few things that you need to have. First, make sure you have an AWS account set up. If not, watch my previous video on how to create a free AWS account. While not mandatory, having a domain name helps your website appear more professional. And a little knowledge about AWS and WordPress will go a long way in understanding what we'll do here. But don't worry, if you're a beginner, I'll guide you through every step. Alright, let's start by launching an EC2 instance. If you want a more detailed tutorial on launching your first EC2 instance, check out my previous video linked above. Now, in the AWS Management Console, navigate to Amazon EC2. And by the way, AWS just announced a new visual update to the AWS Management Console. And the update features a new UI design with rounded shapes, bright colors, and more features. According to them, it creates a smoother, more natural appearance, making the interface more visual pleasing. I don't know, what do you think about this new look? Do you like it more than the previous one? Let me know in the comment section below. Now let's go ahead and click on Launch Instance from the EC2 console dashboard. Under Name and Tags, for name, enter a descriptive name for your instance. I'll name it WP Instance. Now for the application and the OS images, you will select an operating system. You can use Ubuntu or any OS of your choice. However, we recommend Amazon Linux for your first Linux instance. Next, for Amazon Machine Image, select Amazon Linux 2 AMI, which is marked as free tier eligible. Next, choose an instance type. For this tutorial, we'll choose a T2 Micro, which is free tier eligible and perfect for small websites. For the key pair, you can choose an existing one or create a new key pair. Now here, if you choose to proceed without a key pair, you won't be able to connect to your instance using the methods described in this tutorial. So make sure you create a key pair. Click on Create New Key Pair. Here, enter a key pair name. I'll name it WP Instance Key. And select .pem for the key file format to use OpenSSH, and then click Create Key Pair. The key will then be downloaded to your machine. Keep it somewhere safe as we will use it later. Now next, you need to configure the network settings. Now by default, your account has a VPC, a virtual private cloud, and a default subnet, so we'll keep this as default. Now here, ensure auto-assign public IP is enabled because we are creating a server in the public subnet. Next, we'll create a new security group, so choose Create Security Group. Enter the security group name. I'll name it WP Security Group, and then enter a description. Now here, under Inbound Security Group Rules, we have SSH with source type to anywhere. Let's add two more rules. Now the first one is HTTP rule. Select Allow it from anywhere to allow everyone to make HTTP requests to the server. The second one is HTTPS rule. Now if you select Allow it from anywhere, everyone can make HTTPS requests to the server. Now here under the free tier, you will get a 30 GB of storage. I'll choose 15 GB, which is sufficient, and then click on Launch Instance. Now here the instance is launching. All right, let's view it. As you can see, it has been created and it's running. Wait for a few seconds for it to pass the status check. I'll refresh it and it's done. Alright, the next step is to connect to your EC2 instance. Now that your EC2 instance is running, let's connect to it. Select your instance right here and click Connect. There are 4 options to connect your EC2 instance. You can use EC2 Instance Connect, Session Manager, SSH Client, and EC2 Serial Console. Now, for this tutorial, we'll connect via the SSH Client option. You can see the connection commands provided here. We're going to open the SSH Client, then locate the private key file. Remember the key pair we used to launch this instance, and we've saved it in our local machine. Then we're going to run this command here to secure our key and finally connect the instance using public DNS, as you can see the example here. So go ahead and open your local terminal. Now first I'll locate my key. I'll run cd downloads. Then I'll run chmod 400, then the name of my key file, which is wp instance key. Then I'll run the SSH command. Then I'm going to run this command here. SSH-I, the name of my key pair. And then my EC2 user, which is EC2-user. Then add my instance public IP, which is this one here. Now I'll copy this command and run it here. Then hit enter and enter yes to confirm. Alright, you are successfully connected to the server if you see the welcome message from the AWS command line. Alright, now that you're connected to the server, let's go ahead and start the setup for WordPress. Now the next step, we are going to set up the web server and the database. Now here we must set up the web server and database to host WordPress. Let's install Apache and MySQL. Now first, update the package manager using this command. Now we'll use a lot of this Linux command line. Don't worry, you don't have to know them all. I'll link my GitHub repo in the description below so you can copy and use it. Now next, install Apache with this command. Now to start Apache server, run this command. Now to test the Apache server, go back to your EC2 console, copy the public IP of your EC2 instance, open your browser and paste it into a new tab. It might take a few seconds to load, give it time. And there you go. Now, if you see this test page, then the Apache server is working. Next, we are going to install PHP and the database. If you check the PHP version, you can see that we don't have PHP installed. Let's install it by running the following command. Let's check if it has been installed properly. And here we have PHP 8.2. Next, let's install MariaDB, which is a popular open source relational database management system. Now let's go ahead and start the MariaDB service, enabling it to accept connections and handle database operations. As you can see below, the database is active and running. Now, before we install WordPress, let's access the home directory of the EC2 user and then cd into the directory, which is /home/EC2 user. Now, the next step, we are going to download WordPress. Let's download the latest WordPress files from their official website by running this following command. After the WordPress is downloaded, run ls to see the WordPress file, and there it is. Then run this command to unzip the file. Lastly, run lc to see the WordPress folder with all the necessary WordPress files. And there you have it. Now the next step, we are going to create the Amazon RDS instance for WordPress. WordPress needs a database to run correctly. We must create one before proceeding with the WordPress installation. Now for the database, you can create an RDS instance, which is Amazon Relational Database Service, fully managed by AWS. This option will make your work easier and you will not worry about database maintenance. And it's recommended to keep the database separate on RDS instance for durability and security. Now to create an RDS instance, on the Management Console, search for RDS. In the upper right corner of the Amazon RDS console, select the AWS region where you want to create the DB instance. Ensure your AWS region is the same as your EC2 instance. In the navigation pane, choose Databases, then click Create Database. Here choose Standard. For engine type, choose MySQL. Select free tier so we don't get unexpected monthly bills for our database instance. Enter a name of your DB instance. I'll name it WP database. Enter a login ID for the master user of your DB instance. I'll name it admin. Now under credentials management, select self-managed to create your password. Choose auto-generate a password. Amazon RDS can create a password for you, or you can specify your own password. For instance configuration, select dbt3 micro. For the allocated storage, enter the minimum value of 20 gigabytes. Now here in the connectivity section, select the same default VPC as your EC2 instance and the default subnet group. For public access, we want to keep it private for security, so select No. Under VPC security group, we will create a new VPC security group with an inbound rule that allows your local computer IP address to access the database. So here enter a VPC security group name. I'll name it RDS security group. Here you can select any availability zone. I'll keep it no preferences. Leave this as default. Enter the initial database name. I'll name it WP database. AWS provides an automated backup service at an additional cost. Once you're in production, it's recommended that you use it. You can keep a database backup for up to 35 days, but here I will disable backup for this demo. Encrypting your RDS instance is a good practice, so I'll select the default key. Next, enable deletion protection so that your instance can be protected from accidental deletion. Now here the estimated monthly cost is based on our selected options, but the Amazon RDS free tier is available for 12 months. Now lastly, click Create Database. The database will be created in about 2 to 5 minutes. Once the status is available, click View Connection Details to view the RDS credentials. Now here, copy the database host name and password somewhere safe, as you will need them to connect to the database from your EC2 instance. Now the next step here, we are going to connect RDS and EC2 instance. Now in this step, we need to add an inbound rule to the RDS security group to allow a connection to RDS and ensure you can access the database from the EC2 instance. Scroll down to security group. Here, inbound rule is only allowed from one IP. Click your RDS security group. Now here we have created two security groups, one for EC2 and one for RDS instance. Copy the security group ID for the EC2 instance, this one, then select the RDS security group. Here, select inbound rules and click on Edit Inbound Rules. We'll add inbound rules. Select type MySQL Aurora. The port is auto-selected. Then paste the ID of the EC2 security group. Add a description. and click on Save Rules. Now let's test whether this is working. Go back to your EC2 instance dashboard and click on Connect. We will quickly use this method. Click on Connect. To quickly verify the connection to the database, run the following command: mysql-h, then my RDS endpoint. Let me copy that from the RDS console. This one here. Copy. I'm gonna paste it here. Then I'll enter my username, which is admin. Then hit enter. Then enter your password. Remember the password from your RDS instance. Copy it and paste it here. Let me grab that quickly. Now, quick note here, whenever you type your password, you will not see it written in any text. This is a Linux security feature. Just paste your password and hit enter. If you see the welcome to MariaDB message, then you are successfully connected to the RDS instance. To check if the database is created, run the following command: show databases. As shown below, you can see the WP database is already present, and we have successfully connected our database. All right, we are almost done. Let's configure WordPress with the database we just created. First, we need to navigate to the WordPress directory. What we need to do next is to run this command to add our EC2 user to the Apache group. Let's log out and log in again to see the effects of that. Now next, we need to change the ownership of the directory and all its content to the user. In our case, it's EC2 user. Now this is often done to ensure that the EC2 user has the necessary permissions to manage web files and that the Apache group has the appropriate access to these files. To do so, run the following command. Next, let's run these two commands used in web server environments to ensure proper permissions for web servers. Now here we need to rename the configuration file. Now let's open the HTML folder. Let's cd into it. And then run ls to see the files inside the HTML folder. Now as you can see here, we have a wp-config sample.php file. We will create a copy of this file and rename it wp-config.php. This file contains the configuration of WordPress website. Now to edit this file, run this command wp-config sample.php and then the new name. Oops, sorry, it's cp, not cd. Let me correct that. Okay, there you have it. Now next we need to open this new file, the wp-config.php, and update the database details. So on the wp-config.php file, we need to change the database parameters so WordPress can connect to our database. To do so, let's use the nano editor by running this command, nano wp-config.php. Now from here, scroll down and change the database name, username, password, and the host of the RDS instance as shown here. Enter your database name. In my case, it's wp_database. The username, it's admin. The database password. And then here, paste the DB host of the RDS instance. You can get it from the RDS dashboard. Now, once you are done, to save the changes, press Ctrl-O, then Ctrl-X to exit. Now here, to check the changes we made, run this command, cat wp-config.php. As you can see below, our file has been modified with our database information. Next, we need to allow WordPress to use permalinks in the Apache server. We will edit a parameter in the Apache configuration file. To do that, we need to run the following command. First, open the config file in Vim editor. Run this command, sudo vim, then this path. Now scroll down and change the allow override from none to all. Now, quick note here, to type in Vim editor, first press I key to get into insert mode. Then from here change allow override from none to all. Now to save and quit from VM editor, press escape key and then write column WQ and press enter. Now to make sure everything is saved and the new settings are applied, we need to restart the Apache server with the restart command. Alright, lastly, let's access our website. Now let's check if the WordPress website is working. Return to the EC2 instance console and click on the instance public IP. Now if you click on the public IP link, sometimes you might get an error connection. It's not an actual server error. That is your browser doing HTTPS requests rather than HTTP requests. Just remove the S at the end and press enter. And you should see the WordPress setup screen. Follow the on-screen instruction to finish the WordPress installation, where you will set up your site title, username, password, and email. I'm going to fill that quickly. And now you have successfully installed WordPress on your server. Click on Login. To log in, enter your email and password. Once you complete the setup, you'll be taken to the WordPress dashboard and the admin panel where you can start creating and customizing your website. Now, I will not show you how to customize a WordPress website. That is outside the scope of this video. The goal was to show you how to set up a WordPress website on AWS using Amazon EC2. Now, what I like to do is ask myself, is there room for improvement after completing a particular project? Now, what we did in this video was to set up a WordPress website on Amazon EC2 for the server and Amazon RDS for the database. What we need to do next is to use Amazon Application Load Balancer. The load balancer distributes income application traffic across multiple targets, such as EC2 instance, in multiple availability zones. This increases the availability of your application or website. In addition to that, we need to use Amazon Route 53, which provides a highly available and scalable domain name system, DNS, the domain name registration, and health checking cloud services. If you want to see how to add an application load balancer and Amazon Route 53 to your WordPress website, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see these additional features in my next video. If you're stuck and you want a more detailed step-by-step guide, I have created a GitHub repository where you can easily follow along. I'll put the link in the description below. This repo contains all the command lines we've used in this tutorial. Feel free to give it a star and follow me on GitHub. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.